People are saying a gay actor has leaked that Jimin and JK are in a relationship together. People are saying that JK is getting attacked while he is enlisted right now. And then we have apparently Suga going to the ER. Say dumb things and save decided, let's get into it. So I want to start with Suga allegedly going to the ER and what's going on with them. There have been several reports online of apparently ambulances or whatever outside of Suga's house, and people were saying that this must have been his grandmother that was then rushed to the ER in an ambulance. I do want to say that I think this is beyond not true and that there are no credible sources as of right now that can actually verify this. But I definitely wanted to get into what was being said and why people should take these things with a literal grain of salt. If you're not aware of at least what I like to call AI news, then we need to talk about it. This is what I feel like when people want to make a news story and they go into an AI chatbot software and they ask to just generate any story that would cause an emotional reaction within the BTS community, and then the AI generates that. But the thing is, AI doesn't fully understand human experiences and how things work. So oftentimes what they say doesn't make full sense. And then I'm looking at the comments and people are praising this or people are happy about it, and I don't fully know why people are supporting these types of stories. And you do you. If you want to make these types of stories and make these videos, then no one can really stop anyone from doing that. But I at least want the audience to be aware of these things. If you still want to watch these types of AI news stories, then watch it. But watch it with a sense of entertainment, but don't watch it as fact. One of the things that was being said was that apparently there was an ambulance outside of Suga's house, which of course makes no sense because he lives in an apartment complex. But I digress. The second thing that was there was apparently people said that they saw an ambulance there, so they wondered what was wrong, and then people made the assumption that it was Suga's grandmother. Now, if there was an ambulance outside of his apartment complex, unless someone specifically took a picture of his grandmother, and then the community was made aware that this was the grandmother that happened to be related to Suga, and that is also very difficult because I don't think he's publicly shared what his grandma looks like, because I don't think he has publicly shared his grandmother. But let's say that he has, because I don't fully know, but then it gets weird because there are no photos of this online. But then on top of that, if you're just going to say that there was an ambulance outside of his apartment complex and people just knew that it was his grandmother, an apartment complex has so many other people inside. Why would you assume that it just happened to be his grandmother? So this is where I say that AI doesn't really make a lot of sense because it doesn't take into consideration things like other people existing outside of this one story. The AI also doesn't take in consideration videos and photos in which we know and see that Suga lives in an apartment complex. But some people might refer to his apartment as a home or house, and thus the AI then takes it and assumes that he lives in a house. So no, I don't think anyone was rushed to the ER, and no, I don't think Suga went to the ER. Now, JK is currently in the military, but it's interesting to see how there's been a lot of attacks and craziness going on, even though he's not doing anything in the public eye. There's been a lot of people who have been upset over the internal documents coming out. Now, what happened in the internal documents, I can understand people getting upset about that. And a lot of these people will also still preface that this stuff hasn't been 100% confirmed, which is something I want to reiterate as well. Nothing has been confirmed yet. So being upset is kind of moot at this point because we don't know what's true and what's not. But a lot of people have been upset, and they've basically said that the label has tried to attack JK a lot, and there's even rumors of the label allegedly teaming up with someone JK tried to sue. Now, that is alleged. We don't know if that is 100% true or not. But to claim that they are purposely trying to attack or team up with someone that is hurting JK is interesting, because all the document says was that the label subscribed to this channel. Now, that's all. Now, who you really need to be up in arms about or ask questions towards is the social media team who hit the subscribe button. Now, I personally think that they were just trying to keep tabs on the channel, but to say that the label in its entirety has been attacking or trying to attack JK is a very interesting and very black and white type of thinking, because a company has tens of thousands of people in there. So yeah, there could be someone who is a bad apple who hates JK, but that is just one person, not the entirety of the company. And again, I'm saying this as an if. Another thing they said, which was very specifically interesting and also a bit black and white type of thinking too, the industry runs on money. The industry really doesn't care about talent. They don't care about creating art. They don't care about any of that stuff. And the bottom line is, if they did care about those things, they would not be able to push the artists. There are labels that might prioritize those things, and those labels tend to be really small. If you do not have a label that constantly prioritizes acquisition, talent acquisition, and trying to make as much money as possible, and trying to reach as many people as possible, then it's a label that a lot of artists, especially big artists, would not think is worth joining. And so that is, of course, a very important thing to note. Most people and most upcoming talent probably won't want to sign with a no-name label. Do some of them do? Yeah, but most of them, if they had a preference, would probably sign with the big four. I say this because a lot of the complaints that I was seeing were people saying that the label is supposed to uplift the artist, but instead the label is attacking the artist. Now, I've already debunked or addressed the attacking part, but as for the uplifting part, that is not the label's job. The label's job is to make money. A company's job is to make money. So if they are pushing JK, they're getting him to reach as many people as possible. If they are pushing his album so they sell, and they are selling, then they've done their job. As for all of the hate that he's getting, that's not exactly a good thing, but if it's not hurting him, if it's not hurting his sales, and it's not putting his life in danger, then there's nothing that the label would do, nor would JK probably do either. And if JK does try to do that and attempts to pursue legal action, he's doing it for himself and in his own terms. And this would be something that he would probably be spending like his own money to do, not the label's money. And this is not a bad thing. This is just how a company operates. Now, there was this rumor going around where they believed a Korean drama actor had spoken about Jimin and JK. There is this drama called Love in the Big City, and it is a BL drama, which stands for boy love. So this is a genre in which it's a lot of like gay films, and I love this, that there's this category. But there was a scene in which one of the actors was saying that if two people have an age gap and they are speaking informally, that it means that they're likely having sex. And I can't tell if people who screenshotted this or talking about this or using this as an example to say that Jimin or JK are in a relationship, if they're joking or if they're 100% serious, because nothing in this world is that black and white, or if there's just one rule that suddenly it's a blanket rule for every single person in the world. Now, in Korea, if you have a brother or you're very close with someone or just friends with someone, would you not be able to speak to them more informally? Would you have to address them super formally every single time? Formalities and those titles are definitely very important, and I would say probably more important in Korea than in the US. These are things that we can think about for ourselves as well, and then apply it to our culture a little bit. We might use formalities when we first meet someone, or even formalities with our coworkers, but we're not going to have those same formalities with people that we've known our entire life, or people that we're very close with. So when people are taking moments from Jimin and JK's reality show, Are You Sure? And they're applying this logic of, look, they're not formal with each other, they must be sleeping with each other. It's very interesting, because it's one thing to assume that they're just very close, and it's another thing to assume that they're sleeping with each other. But the other part of this is neither Jimin nor JK have ever publicly acknowledged this Korean drama, at least not that I know of. So if they've never mentioned this drama, it makes this drama a little bit harder, at least in my opinion, to try to connect it to them. It would change things a little bit, but still not really, but at least I can understand where the assumption is coming from if people were referencing this drama because Jimin and JK had literally mentioned it. I don't think this was the actor's way of name dropping or talking about Jimin or JK. I don't think he was referencing anything that they do. I think this entire clip was just taken out of context, and there was likely context before and after this that would have made a lot more sense. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks, just leave a comment right here. Love you, bye.